looked at your store, and like there's so many cool things, like, and it's not just one thing, you know, it goes like incensors, inhalers. Like as soon as I read that, my mind was blown. It's like, wait, what? Because I used to take an asthma inhaler.
Oh, the aromatherapy inhalers, yeah.
Yeah, how does, like, that's actually one of my questions, is like, how the hell does that work? That's insane.
It's so very funny story involved with this, but basically it is, I don't have one up here with me. But it's a little tube, and inside it there's a glass vial with a cotton wick. So on that cotton wick, you put like essential oils on it. So, and it's got like a little cap that has like a kind of like a grate on it. So once you take the cap off, you can snip it. You can use it for like stress relief or anxiety or things like that, or to help you ground and center before and after a ritual or meditation and stuff like that. So
I saw the deep breathing one, and I think I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, just to kind of like really, you know, it's very like piney and got a lot of like woodsy elements to it, but those essential oils really help open up like your respiratory tract and stuff like that. So
yeah, and that's when it comes to other ways of, you know, medicating yourself and all that. What I've learned throughout just I don't know, I guess just growing up, you know, they used to be like, take this prescription thing, and I, as a kid growing up, they always would put me on like stuff for my ADHD and all that, and it kind of like put me like, it's kind of like a stress ball, and I ended up being like, no, I don't need that. I don't want to have that. But you know, there are sometimes you have an ailment, you know, an issue that's going on, and I end up getting on these one vitamins that help my life out so much. But like what was the thing that sparked all this for you? Like, were you into fragrances and spirits, or like how did that compile? Like, what you're doing is really awesome, Jennifer.
thank you. I'm a Gemini, so I'm into literally everything ever except for math and sports. But I started out, the spiritual path ended up crossing over with the stuff that I did. But I originally started out doing like aromatherapy. Like I had started working with essential oils probably about 10 years ago for my own, dealing with anxiety and stress and concentration issues and things like that. So I started dabbling around a little bit with essential oils then. And even like a little bit earlier, I still remember like going to the little, metaphysical shops back in the 90s and getting like, attraction oil and patchouli and things like that. So I always like those kind of fragrances. It's just sort of, with like perfume fragrances, I hate going to the perfume stores because I'm like, nothing there smells like what I want to smell like. So I started out, I got certified in aromatherapy, and I started taking a lot of other classes and things like that with herbalism, perfuming, natural skincare formulation, incense crafting, and I've since sort of added some specialty things on, like with the poison path stuff I do with like the flying ointments and tinctures and things like that.
Yeah, and like the flying ointments, I mean, obviously people who don't look into things, which is usually the skeptics of everything, they're like, like I was thinking about doing something like that, to where in my meditation, like, would I just place that like as aromatherapy and then just
usually what I do with the flying ointments, like I'll put a little bit like on my third eye, sort of like on the back of my neck. Most of it I put on like my wrists and my forearms. But sometimes, I mean, because the herbs that are in them also have other benefits, like I get a lot of comments from people who might have been like, wow, this is great for my nerve pain. Like, so I have friends that'll put them on their knee, because because it helps with pain, with they have chronic pain and things like that. I just don't advertise it as that because the FDA is kind of a gigantic pain in the butt. They'll be like, hey, you're selling a medication there, young missy.
Yeah, I know. And when it comes to like, sometimes the way you have to talk a little cryptic for you to not get censored with things, and then always be like, and this really helps out with all this pain, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't prescribe it to you.
The FDA has not evaluated the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or it's like, there's little like, I can't sell something and call it headache balm because then that becomes a therapeutical medication. So it's sort of like you have to kind of work away, like relaxation balm or stuff like that. So that's why sometimes with the aromatherapy hailers, instead, like it'll have something like don't panic or time out or something like that, instead of like anti-anxiety aroma hailer, because that would get flagged.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I'm really excited to check out the breathing one because I feel like that's like I enjoy like going in steams and saunas and all
Mhm.
those things to open up the respiratory
Yeah.
and like really taking that initiation with all that. You have so many products, which is like there was one stuff with like faces on them, like that bar soap, and that
Mhm.
is like how. I mean, I guess I don't want to ask you all your secrets, but like how on earth, like that is some wild looking stuff. Wild.
I always say I'm a crazy person. My mom always, because I did a lot of art as a child, and she was like anything you could like mass produce, you'd make like thousands of it and stuff. And like, I just always was making. I'm like, oh, I've got an idea for something new, or someone asked me to make something, or whatever. So, I just that creative process of always like, I if I pulled up my Google Drive that has, all my things in progress in it, like I mean, there's probably like at least 50 things in there. I'm like, oh yeah, I designed these astrological oils and the elemental ones like a year ago. Maybe I should like actually make them and release them.
Do you have anything you would use that you've tried that helps out anyway, or
I'm a particularly unique case when it comes to sleep issues, but actually a lot of the actually what I find for me, the thing that helps me sleep the best are the products that I use fly agaric mushrooms in.
oh
So I have a
wow,
couple tinctures and a flying ointment and a smoke blend that use them.
ooh,
That one, I'm out.
really? How do you use that? Do you just is it just like the ointment thing where you put it
Yeah, I
on a
have a
certain
flying
part?
ointment and a flying oil that has the flagark mushrooms in it. That's a topical. I have an herbal smoke blend that you smoke. Like I use like I have an amethyst little bowl pipe thing that I smoke.
Oh, nice! I didn't know you could smoke herbs like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. And then I have a few tinctures that are either I do tinctures and elixirs, and elixirs is when I use elixir, I'm using it more in the traditional herbal sense than way you see it in it, like Barbie's slut water as an elixir
Yeah.
and things like that. So I use it more in a traditional sense. An elixir for me is
Mhm.
something that has a brandy and honey base in it. And then the herbs are steeped in that and strained and diluted, and the tinctures have a grain alcohol base.
Oh, okay. Well, for sure you're gonna get a review video. I'm gonna get one of those sleeping things because that's been one thing I've been trying to use like CBD
Hmm.
to give me to sleep. Sometimes that don't work, and then I was using melatonin, but that can do the opposite to me.
Yeah, I take a little bit of melatonin just to kind of keep, because otherwise I'm up to like 5 or 6 in the morning.
Like it's like, all right, it's time to slow down the bus, time
Yeah,
to come down and
like
slow.
God damn it, I want to go to sleep. It's 8 a.m. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a problem. Like I'm trying to balance everything. It's like I gotta be up by like 7:30 in the morning.
Mhm.
And then if I don't meditate before I start off my day, like that's like kind of my big thing
Mhm.
anymore. It's like the past year I've focused on that. And it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
now we're feeling good instead of waking up running out the door. Like in middle school and high school, it would be
Yeah,
wake up 5 minutes before you need to be on the road. And it's like,
yeah,
good
that was still
job.
me. I'm like, okay, how many minutes do I need to, put my contact lenses in, throw clothing on, and get in my car? All right, and feed the cats. Okay, we're good.
All right, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's do this right now. Let's go. And I like the that big pyramid back there with the master key on it. I didn't
Yeah.
know where did you get that at? That's
Elena Lemmy, Limitless Liberation, I believe is her thing. She's an Etsy store.
okay.
If you like, she does things a lot of times custom. So she has some things in her Etsy store. I also have it's a smaller one. I just got it last week. Is the Astarte pyramid.
Oh wow. Wow. That looks
So yeah, like if you
awesome.
just message her and say, hey, I want to get this. I actually think Barbie and JS might have some of the pyramids that are like supercharged or whatever on their website
You
too.
mean the Baruch Kushu ones?
No, it's I think it's just the Shamyaza pyramid or
Oh,
something.
okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I think they
yeah.
added it recently. But yeah, Elena does amazing things. She does the pyramids. She does some other stuff too. And there's some smaller little like triangle ones.
Oh, I like that. You know what?
That's the Ishtar one.
She probably can make anything customized like that.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
like if you said like, hey, I want to, and if she doesn't have it on the store, I'm just keeping an eye on my candles before they go crazy on me.
I only got 2 little ones going, and I try to keep an eye on
This
them.
one is about to go crazy because there's some herbs in it. So.
What got you into working with spirits on top? Because I mean, that's a whole nother level, like to add within everything else, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I started working primarily with Lilith, and it just kind of opened the doors from there. And I started doing all the, the demonic gatekeepers, pathworking, and other people pop up. Their spirits pop up now and then, and then working more with other dark goddesses and Shamayaza and all these.
Well, it's like as soon as you start down the the road, like the reason I like Salah so much, like I grew up in a Christian church, so I always had the Raphael, Michael, and like I always was in like exorcisms and like cleansing out stuff and all that, but like my first actual other type of pantheon spirit was that. And after going down that, like you see how much recovering, how much internal work, how much change it does. And like, then it brings you to this spirit and then that spirit. And it's like, they've just all been waiting to be like, okay. And then after your lesson, I get to be up next. It's like, you're enrolled in this forever learning school. And it's honestly, it really is an incredible journey. And like seeing so many people do so many awesome things, like, I don't know. It's beautiful because it's like everyone has like their own spark of divinity, like on the way, like their art form, whatever that may be. Like I want my words to be able to help affect people, and like also like give a voice out for other things too. That this is real. Like because lots of people are so skeptical, and it's like.
I mean, I've had my moments. I'm like, clearly, I'm absolutely just insane.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. There's certain synchronicity. I think is the most beautiful thing because you're like, am I crazy? Like I have 3 ravens, like I see everywhere. Like they're literally everywhere. And one time I was talking about them and I was playing Fallout, and my guy's standing there, and then 1 raven, 2 raven, 3 right in front of my character. I'm like, it doesn't matter which realm, like that realm, this realm, it's everywhere.
That's funny.
And it's super crazy.
I've gotten more into like animal omens lately. Like ever since I call it the black squirrel of winter solstice. Now where I live in PA, we don't have, like, I haven't seen a black squirrel, like a full pitch black squirrel. And probably the only place I ever saw it was in Princeton, New Jersey. And I haven't seen one in like 30 years. I happened to just be down on campus walking around and like, shit, there's like a black squirrel like in the tree on a random path that I was walking. I was just like, okay, this is clearly something.
Yeah, this is a little nutty, one would say.
I mean, we have plenty of gray squirrels around, that's nothing new, but I'm like, I have not seen a black squirrel in 30 some years.
Yeah, he's one actually,
and on winter solstice nonetheless.
People like Reiki candles are ridiculous.
Yeah, I have actually a really good place I do some work with, or I'm going to be doing some work with, Goetic Impressions.
Okay, yeah, I've saw
they
that.
They do a lot. This is the Babylon candle. This is the one I think I have like within reach.
Oh, that's so wow.
But yeah, they do those. They do like a lot of like the sort of sigil medallions and things like that too. I'm an expert shopper. I was like, oh, you need to know where to get something. Hold on.
Well, that's the way to do it.
You can tell I am an expert shopper.
Hey, a tradesmith, you know what I'm saying? Anything like a certain pantheon that you feel more drawn to, or are you kind of like, I'm walking all the gates, I'm
kind of walking all the gates, although I do feel a little more drawn to sort of like that's sort of like Sumerian, Babylonian, that kind of area, with Astarte and stuff like that. Yeah. Definitely a little bit more in that realm. But,
the Inky and the Enlil and that whole story, and the eagle and the serpent, and when you look back at like all the different religions talking about these different beings. And I also love, seeing like that there's I know that there's giants and there's other things in history that have been covered up. And when
absolutely
get to the bottom of that, it opens up so many Pandora's boxes. And I've been kicked out of many, like back when I was a hardcore like Catholic, going to church groups trying to teach all this stuff, I'd be always kicked out because I'd start bringing up giants, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm trying to bring a
I was always but why?
Yeah, but
but why? No, I'm not taking because I said so or it's in the Bible, but why?
Yeah, please give me just a little bit more evidence and why your God can be a jealous, envious God when he's supposed to be an all-knowing, all-loving God. It's hypocrisy to its finest. Just had one more question, and I was just wondering, like, what are any few like path workings you're on right now, or that you see in the formidable future for yourself?
It's sort of, I always feel like pathworking is something that just is ongoing for me.
Mm,
Like, it's sort of, I spent different time, different amounts of times and different things sitting with each, entity. But then there's things that will come up. Like I when I first worked with Beelzebub, like a lot of what we talked about was emotional pestilence,
hmm.
like, and things like don't, like, one of the things I just remember is being like, don't let worry and fear destroy your happiness,
Yeah,
and
that's
things like that. And then now I'm kind of going back and revisiting that and working a little bit more on differentiating between healthy attachments and healthy unattachment, because we can
mm.
become so attached to things that it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah, it's also can become rot, and that's when I worked with him, that was exactly what was kind of shown to me. I didn't even want to work with him, to be honest. Every single gatekeeper, it's been like there's some I was super excited about, and other ones I was like,
Or it's like, I don't know how I'm going to work with Abaddon right now, but then like 3 months later, like, oh, okay, that's how I'm going to work with Abaddon right now.
yeah, exactly. It's like when something feels called to it, and whether it's usually I at least want to have one conversation with
Mm-hmm.
it, and like that's I'm not trying to catch them all. I know on DH's videos, like I'm
Yeah,
trying to catch them all. I'm
gotta
like,
catch them all.
there's a million different spirits, different pantheons. I appreciate you coming on, and I would love for you to tell everyone where they can find all your stuff and your pages and everything else.
Cool. My website is belladonnasbotanicals.com, and my YouTube channel is Jennifer Vatza. I'll send you links for everything, and social media stuff. I'm usually Belladonna's Botanicals or some variation thereof, depending on character limitations.